Welcome to this week's session with Putnam County District Library, the Guiding Ohio Online Grant. This week we are taking a look at ChatGPT tips. Last week we looked at some, and we're just going to add to what we had done last week. Just as a friendly reminder, May 13th we are offering a session at the library. If you are free and would like to get more hands-on with this in person, you can do that on the 13th of May. So let's take a look. Last week when we looked at this, I'm going to go over here. These are just some ideas of what you can do with ChatGPT. It's kind of endless, but last week we looked at suggestions. We talked about planning a trip and kind of elaborated on that trip as we ask more and more detailed questions. So other things that you can do are specific facts or details, language translation, comparison, creative writing, brainstorming ideas for you, summarizing text, generate lists, or pros and cons of something. So I'm going to just take a look at a few of these this week. There's many more ideas. These are just some ideas of what you can do with ChatGPT. So I already have ChatGPT up and running. Before we go into any more of those ideas and things you can look at this week, just as a reminder, we are using ChatGPT 3.5, which is free to use. If you want to use ChatGPT 4, there is a cost involved. So when we looked at this, we talked about how it always gives us some suggestions down here. Today, let's take a look at if we wanted to. One of the things we talked about here on the previous screen was specific facts or details. So let's just say, I want to say, who invented the washing machine? And when I do that, then what ends up happening is I'm going to get an answer of who invented it and more details. And then remember, is this conversation helpful? Something we didn't talk about last week is if this is helpful, I can give it a thumbs up. If it's not, I give it a thumbs down. All this is doing is it's helping AI with the ChatGPT become more and more accurate with the information that it's giving you. So if we just give it a thumbs up, then basically we're relaying that back. And remember, then we did talk about how I could copy this information. I can actually regenerate it. If I'm not happy with what I see, I just simply click on the regenerate, and it's going to feed me some more information that might be just worded a little bit different, maybe some more detail. If you notice, it does seem to appear a little bit longer and gives me a little bit more detail of what the question was that I asked. One of the other things we talked about back here on this screen was the language translation. So let's say I'm going to start a new chat. So I'm just simply going to go up here, go to new chat. So because basically over here on the side, what's happening is these are all the chats that I have had and with ChatGPT. So if I want to make sure that I keep a record of these and I have that information, I'm going to want to make sure I do a new chat and not just keep building on this one. Otherwise, it's always going to be titled The Washing Machine Evolution. But notice I can click here, I can rename it. It's just the fact that you want to kind of imagine that you're having multiple conversations with different people. So that's why you would want to go to new chat if you're going to kind of totally change the subject matter. So let's do something here where we're saying with the language translation. So let's say, for example, I want to put in here, how do I say I would like, remember I talked about too how it doesn't have to be spelled correctly, a glass of water. So I purposely misspelled some of these in here, and I'm putting that, how do I say I would like a glass of water in Spanish? And so it's going to give me that information then. And notice it did interpret, even though my misspelled words there. But, okay, that's great. I have the language translation, which I can do just with Google Translate as well. But this is much more of a conversational type of language that's going on. And the nice thing here then is I can say, how do I pronounce that? And when I say, how do I pronounce it? Now it's going to give me a little bit more of a breakdown of how I go about pronouncing exactly what that is in Spanish. So that's basically how the translate works. If I go back, I'm going to go back a screen here to when we talked about, again, comparison is another one, creative writing, brainstorming ideas, the summarizing of text, and then generate a list. I want to show you with generate a list. I'm going to go back, I'm going to go a new chat, and let's say I want, let's just say plan a birthday party for a 5-year-old boy who likes cars. So it's going to create this list here for me of what and how to go about planning a birthday party for a 5-year-old boy. Now, I purposely did not include anything in terms of the amount of people. So what I would do then is I say with, again, habit of wanting to spell something, but let's say with 8 children. So now it's going to give me a little bit, tell me more in terms of how to go about this and what to do in terms of for 8 people involved in this birthday party. And then go back here one more time to where we talked about generate lists, and then same thing with pros and cons. If I want to do a new chat and I want to say, should I get a dog or a bird? And again, I'm going to get a list of pros and cons. Which way should I go in terms of a dog or a bird? And it's going to tell me what the time commitment is, the space, the allergies. Notice all the information there that is provided. So let's look one more time over here on the left-hand side where I have my information. These are what I've added. Notice when I click on my 3 dots here, this is where I can share this information out. So by clicking that, I would then be sharing it out if I wanted to share it with a friend, a spouse, just someone with their email address there. I can delete any of these that I don't want to show anymore, and I can rename as well. And then the little icon here that's the archive, and it's going to archive that back. So now it is not going to show up on my list anymore. And if I go here to my account and I go to my settings, this is where I would then be able to go in and I would have my archive account, and when I say manage, then my archived accounts are going to show up here. I showed that last week, but this is a nice reminder because this can be very helpful. Otherwise, this list can become very, very long and could get kind of cumbersome. But notice it does have, whether it's be it today, the previous 7 days, 30 days, or March, February, then it starts going in by month and then even by year. If you are ever interested and you want to upgrade your plan, you can do that here right above your username. To upgrade a plan, you would simply click here, and now I'm going to have my information of what it costs to upgrade to Plus, or if you were doing this as a group in terms of upgrading with a team of individuals. So that is what you will find and see with ChatGPT. Just a little bit more detail today in terms of what you can do with it and how to kind of organize and set things up for yourself. I hope everyone has a great week, and like we said, March 13th at the library if you're interested in trying to actually work in person with this yourself.